I'm going to try to get this up as much as I can. I've been putting up about my kidnapping, and today I want to show you, just in case you haven't seen my videos before. But then I want to get to when I did the medical malpractice book about mind control murders done in patterns. Larry Flint was one of those. March the 6th of 78. I was living at Moonraker Apartments in Marietta. He was shot in Lawrenceville. His attorney was killed in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Now, I was flown out there late in the campaign in 83 to replace one of the doctors in the medical malpractice book MD license to kill unpublished, because that's what they almost did to me. I was flown out there to replace Dr. Larry McDonald, congressman, whose plane, the plane he was on, went down. And I'm not going to get into that again, April 31st of 83. Now I want to get into briefly my dad, Edward VIII, my grandfather, George V, illegal George VI helped kidnap me with the Rothschilds, Rockefellers. This is my father. This is not. This is a double. Double was used in the plot and all of it to take down my father. My father was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, sister to artist Georgia O'Keefe. Now, I want to get to this as much as I can get up. When I was doing the book, I had worked for a group of doctors, and I found out how heart bypass on one subject, and oddly enough, the next job I had was for him, for his company. It was Dixon Tomato. It sounds simple, Dixon Produce Company, but they were huge importers of food and etc. So anyway, their corporate office was on Powers Ferry Landing, across from Moonraker almost apartments, where I lived in Penthouse. And I'm saying this for a reason. Penthouse magazine had owned it and prior, and it was owned by the Mormon Church at the time I was there. And that gets into genealogy, etc. But what I wanted to say here was Flint was shot March the 6th of 78, and I'm doing the book. I knew it was a mind control murder, part of what I was writing about. Now, I want to, I can't give all this, but I wanted to get what happened later. You have no idea what went on at Moonraker, me trying to do the book. I moved then May the 8th to up the street, about a few blocks up the street on Bentley at Laurelwood Apartments. And got a letter from the FBI, June the 23rd of 79, ongoing investigation, national security involved, issued by U.S. Attorney Harper, William Harper. Well, the middle of March, things were so bad that my Laura Mae Childers, who lived in Abilene at the time, she's in Lockhart now, Texas, told me that if I come out there, I could stay with her for a couple of weeks and they'd try to get me a job. And if so, I could move the kids out there and not live with her, but I was going to stay there a few days or a couple of weeks to see if I could find a job. Well, she had a CPA firm. So anyway, I got to Mesquite, Texas, a suburb of Dallas, and called her. Well, I'm here. I just called her before I left. Suddenly, I can't come. Turn around and go back, and when I get back, my apartment's gone. The FBI actually run the Laurelwood Apartments, probably, and let me get this in. The manager there told me, she said, my uncle was in charge of the Patty Hearst kidnapping. Well, Patty Hearst's father, the Hearst Company, Hearst Castle, Hearst Press, was part of the mass plot to take down my father, and they did. Edward VIII again, and this is a double, and I showed you that. And Larry Flint, he even says here, I know who's responsible for his shooting. And it says Larry McDonald, etc. But here's what I wanted to tell, if I can. I wanted to get the names in, okay? April Fool Day of 80, this is after I come back and had no apartment anymore. It was in the same complex, but my ex-husband in that few days, and they shouldn't even have known, or mattered if I had gone away for a week or 2 weeks. My sons were there, and my ex-husband was supposed to be back, and he's an ex-husband, okay? Supposed to have been. Okay, I get back from Laura's to turn around and come back, and the apartment's gone. They have allowed him in that few days to change the lease, move my apartment within the same complex, and he now has the key, my deposit, my furniture, and the apartment's in his name. So I'm going to say this. I was told that he had just put me on his insurance. Now follow me. Things are so bad, and he's out of town, and things were so bad that I went to the house of a person I thought was a friend, Lois Pearson. Come find out that she wasn't a friend. Anyway, I got there, and on April Fool Day, that night, I had antifreeze put in me. I didn't know what I'd gotten until the next morning I got up, and I knew I was just about dead. And I had to get somewhere to see if whatever I'd gotten a hold of or been given me in the night, I thought, because I had something in my neck next to the spinal column, I thought somebody had injected me there with something. Well, Lina Dempsey, she's mother of the twins. I was kidnapped in 41. She's mother of the twins, and I'm shown their pictures and all that here, and I'll take up my time showing it. But the twins were dead, Peggy and Carl, but they stole my identity and gave me Peggy's. And that's the name I still have to use. And let me say this, the Brits have told me in 1983, and I looked back, the Brits were always there, and Germans, trying to keep me from being killed. I mean, I'm a hostage, but after a while, you drain somebody. Look at Great Britain, what's been done to us. Okay, I want to say this. I wanted to get this part in. The day that I woke up, April Fool Day of 80, at Lois Pearson's in Marietta, Georgia, I knew I had to get to a doctor. Suddenly, Lina Dempsey, out of Huntsville, Alabama, she doesn't supposedly have money, etc. She shows up, and she calls there. I believe that's how that, well, it had to be, and she called there. So she knew I was at Lois's at that specific time, and she come and picked me up, and she took me to the emergency room at West Paces Ferry. That's on Far Road, and I believe 41, or it used to be, hospital. And I was met there at the emergency room, and I told the doctor that I wanted a tox screen done, and told him what had happened to me, and that I had written a medical malpractice. I don't remember if I said that at the time. Now I think I did. Anyway, it wouldn't have mattered. It was set up. Dr. Chelton, it turns out, later they tell me when I managed to live, he wasn't on the staff, wasn't supposed to be there in the emergency room, wasn't even on their staff. Let me give you the credentials for Chelton, who illegally had, well, you might as well say locked up. That's not supposed to be where you go. This is a regular hospital. Okay, no tox screen was done that I asked for. None of the things on admitting a patient physical or anything, blood work done. Chelton called a doctor friend of his, Paul Beechum, Beechum, Marietta physician, Atlanta. And what happened there is sick, and the hospital, the whole bunch of them should have been locked up. There's a British nurse there that saved my life. So in essence, I get locked up. I go for a tox screen at the emergency room. I get locked up. You might as well say that, because I was told if I tried to leave, they'd have an intern intravenously feed me Halidol. Okay? So I'm going to try to skip. I can't get it all up there, so let me just say this. I couldn't get in touch with my ex-husband. And when he did get back on Thursday, they had said that the urine analysis, they did do that, nothing else. Urine analysis was no good. It was contaminated. They gave me a clean catch, they called it. Well, that night before the clean catch, someone had come in at 3 o'clock, a black man and a white nurse, I guess, I don't know, and they had put a needle in me. I don't know if they drew blood, I think. I don't know, because she said her veins are hiding. She's got bad veins. They're hiding. So anyway, they left the alcohol swab and the blood that was on it there in my arm, crook of my arm. And when the lady in the room with me woke up, she said, they're not supposed to come in here at that time and do anything, take blood. And by the way, later that day, she was removed, and I don't know what happened to her. Anyway, they brought the clean catch. Well, I knew I wasn't going to live probably at that time at all. I didn't know what had been put in me or anything, and they're really killing me, going to end it. So I put the swab with that on it and a toothbrush with toothpaste into the clean catch, and I put it around in there so it sure got soaked, took it out. Okay, here's what happened later. My ex-husband comes back in, and he's taken charge, and the doctors were more than willing. I mean, there was no doubt, because it was all planned with him too, because of Grand National, what went on there, the company, and his visit, which was odd, and I shouldn't go into this area, it requires too much telling. Dr. Gene Strokerman was killed in his office. Tell me I haven't forgotten his name right at the moment. Anyway, gets into that, so I won't get into that area right at the moment. Anyway, he comes, and they're leaving me out. Dr. Beechum's looking at my ex-husband and saying, well, we did a clean catch, and it was okay, the first one. And I thought, you lying SOB. Clean catch, I guess you forgot about what I dumped in there to make sure this one wasn't, because the first one was. So anyway, the next day he came back and I left. And I want to say this, Dr. Beechum, Paul Beechum, stood there when I was, if you've ever had antifreeze and survived it, you know what hell is. My whole life's been that, but you know what it is. Anyway, he said to me, and I'm passing out, I'm ready to hit the floor, and I reach out and I said, help me. He said, you've got to stop what you're saying about these doctors. And he walked out. I can't remember if I made it to a chair or what. But anyway, my ex-husband come and got me. And that was on Friday, the next day on a Friday. Thursday, he was there Friday. Friday was before Christmas. Easter. Easter was on the 6th of April of 80. So this is Friday. He takes me, not home. I'm begging to go home to my children. They don't really know what has gone on. And he didn't. He took me rather to Ridgeville. Oh God, what's the name of it? Ridgeway. I think that's the name of it, Ridgeview. It's owned by doctors. It's an alcohol treatment center. I never drank. In my whole life, I've tried to explain this. I may have taken 10 sips. When I went out with my husband when he had Grand National, which is a part of this, and probably getting crimes and using it, everyone has something to hide. The law enforcement gets something on you, and then you comply, or else they'll charge you. And anyway, he took me there. In the condition I'm in, I can say my son's name, Mark and Scott. I can write pretty good, but it was hell. I'm dead. I knew I was. I didn't think at that time if I lived I'd ever get my memory or anything back. So John, this is going out, so I'm going to stop. The next day is Easter. I'm stuffed in the car Saturday evening. Next day is Easter. Taken to Huntsville, Alabama, and they stuffed me in a car with Lionel Dempsey, this woman. My ex-husband did, the person I thought was a half-brother, and his wife. And she said to me, we can't help you. The people doing it to you is who Philip works for. He's retired from the ATF.